We are going to be making a very simple and quick pizza base mix. The first step we need to take is to bring all our ingredients together. We have 225 grams of self-raising flour, 150 milliliters of milk, 40 grams of butter, 5 grams of baking powder and 1 gram of salt. For step 2, we need to add these ingredients to the flour, and we're going to use the rubbing method. The salt, baking powder and the butter. And what we're going to do here, we're going to put our fingers in here and we're going to rub the flour and the butter together. And we want to end up something that resembles breadcrumbs. I'm using the tips of my fingers and thumbs to squeeze the butter into the flour. Now all the butter is incorporated into the flour and I can't not feel any lumps. That'll be the end of stage 2. For stage 3, we're going to add the milk. I'm going to pour the milk into the bowl. Using a knife, we're going to bring all those ingredients together, and for the flour and butter to absorb the milk, rubbing it round the side of the bowl. There we are. I'm going to use my hand now to bring all that mixture together. Kneading it slightly in the bowl. And there you have it. The dough is ready. We need to roll out the pastry. You need to take some flour and dust the surface lightly. Place our pastry on top, a fine dusting on top of that. Using a rolling pin, we're now going to roll the pastry into a large circle. And as you can see, I'm rolling up to one edge and back, giving it a half turn, roll up to the edge and the back, half turn, up to the edge and back, half turn, to the edge and back, half turn. And as you notice, I've got it stuck to the rolling pin slightly there. We're going to do a little light dusting of flour, rub it in, and continue once again. Now the size I'm looking for is about the size of this pizza tray. So I'm going to now use it as a template to have a look to see what size it is. Yes, I'm almost there. So I'm going to just give it a little bit more of a roll. And there you have it. For stage 5, we need to put the pizza base onto the tray. So I'm going to put my rolling pin at one end. I'm going to roll the pastry back on itself, put it to one side, take my pizza tray, and I'm going to put some olive oil onto the base and brush it into the base of the tray. And up the sides. This will stop it sticking. And then I'm going to lift up my pizza base. I'm going to start at one end and let it roll over onto the tray. And now I'm going to push down into the tray. And what I'm going to do next is just trim off any excess pastry. So here we go. I'm going to use my knife. I'm going to run it round. There we are. Your pizza base is now ready for the topping. The next thing we need to prepare is the tomato sauce that goes on top of the base. Now here I have some tomato, which is a plum tomato, and what we need to do first is to break up the tomato into more of a puree. Now you can either use a fork or your hand. Now I like to get my hand in there and just squeeze it between your fingers, trying to crush the plum tomato as much as you possibly can. There you go, all squidged up. And that's now ready for placing on top of the pizza base. To place the tomato onto the pizza base, we need to take a spoon and scoop the tomato sauce now onto the base, and using the back of the spoon to spread it out evenly. All over the base. There you have it. And now we are ready for the toppings. For my toppings for the pizza, I've chosen some red onion, which has been already thinly sliced. Of course, mozzarella. My protein is tuna and some red peppers. And of course, the herb I'll be using is some oregano, which is dried oregano. Now you can use many other different types of toppings. For example, mushrooms, sweet corn, courgettes, ham, chicken. You could use some fresh basil as well as a herb. And of course, instead of using mozzarella, you can use cheddar cheese. Now I'm going to place the toppings on my pizza. The first thing I'm going to start off with is the oregano. So I'm going to sprinkle my oregano first. And if you were using fresh oregano or fresh basil leaves, you'd still do it at this stage. The next item I'm going to add is some onion. Making sure I spread it evenly. Oops. Over the base. So we cover all elements. Now the red pepper. You do not want to add too many ingredients or too much, because that'll prevent the pizza baking correctly and you will have a wet base. The next item, I'm going to flake on my tuna. And then finally, the mozzarella. And there you have it. Now this is going to go into a hot oven for about 15 minutes at 220 degrees centigrade. And there you have it, the finished pizza, cooked in an oven for 15 minutes at 220 degrees. The only thing we need to do now is to cut it. To cut the pizza, all we have to do is to get our pizza cutter and take it through the middle, and once again through the middle. So we have our 4 quarters. And there you have it, our beautifully cooked pizza.